Catskill High students. Mr. Irvis coming to you from Crickwater Studios. I'm going to wait for my camera to stop bouncing around before I start. Today we are doing Unit 4C, Lessons 8 through 11. Today should be 4/22. That should be the date, 4/22. So check your date. So we are starting out with a question about a parallel line, a line that is parallel to the x-axis and also passes through 4, 12, has an equation, and choose the one. Now what? I think it's easiest to just quick draw an xy axis. Of course, that's the x and that's the y always. 4, 12, you don't even have to put the lines, you just have to estimate. It's going to be 4 over this way and 12 up this way, so it's a dot kind of right about there. And if it's parallel to the x-axis, that means that it's going the same direction. So you'll notice, oh, they're asking us about a special case. Now, on this line, if that's 4, 12, there's a whole bunch of other coordinates. On the right there, that's 0, 12. I mean, way over here, that would be 9, 12. And what you'll notice is they all have the same y coordinate. The y coordinate, no matter where you go on this line, is y is 12. Choice number 3. All right, let's check out number 2. Number 2 says at least 2 teachers must accompany every 5 elementary students on a field trip. All right, that's starting to feel like a proportion that's developing. If 45 students are going on the trip, what's the minimum number of teachers needed? All right, so let's set up that first ratio. 2 teachers for every 5 students. And let's see. Should be equal to another ratio in which there are 45 students on the bus. So remember, it was teachers over students, so this will be teachers over students. I'll put 45 here. How many teachers should we bring? I don't know, x. And then cross multiply. That's where we get 5 times x is 5x. 2 times 45, that's 90. Solve it. Divide by 5, and you'll find out that x is 18. Choice number 4. That's all there is to that. Number 3. Now I did some writing here to make it a little easier for you guys to come back and check on it. All right, so if you're graphing, here's your reminders. Dashed line if it's less than or greater than, solid line if it's got the equal line underneath it. Shade above if it's y greater than, shade below if it's y less than. Now you can notice that this line is dashed, okay, and it is shaded above. So that means I need to use the greater than symbol, and I need the fact that it's dashed to use one of these 2 symbols, and that takes choice 3 out of the mix, takes choice 4 out of the mix. Matter of fact, choice 2, that's a less than. We're looking for a greater than, so we go choice 1, and that's all there is to it. Now later in the lesson, definitely rewind here to, I think, 4 minutes, 3 seconds, and you can come back and review those if you need them. Last question is a step function, and you can see that there's a step here. Now the height of this step from 0, 0 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the height is 7. Now that height stays 7 from x value -4 to +2. Okay, so that's a height of 7. The height of this next step is down 1, 2, 3. So that's a height of -3. And that stays that height from x value 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to go choose our answers. These are the wrong heights, so they're out. Okay, so we need a height of 7, height of -3, and you can see this step height of 7 and -3, 7 and -3. So now it comes down to open circle, closed circle. Notice this is closed, closed. Closed circles means it will have the equal symbol underneath. Equal, equal. This is open, this is closed. It doesn't have the equal sign, and it does have the equal sign. So you got to choose choice 1 on this. And that's all there is to it. Turn that over. And we're going to actually graph a step function here. Let me get it set. Okay. So they want you to graph 3 steps. One step is a height of 10. Well, how long do you want me to graph this? Well, from 0 to 4 on the x-axis. Well, here's 0, so I'm going to go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and filled in circle because of the equal sign. Hopefully I didn't lose my 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. No, I had it. Okay. So filled in circle, and then keep that step a height of 10 until we get to 4. That's 2, that's 3, that's 4, right there. Oh, now I made a filled in circle, and guess what? It's supposed to be open. All right, so let's fix that. So make it an open circle. Then we need a height of 7, beginning at x value 4. Okay, so x value 4, we're going to go up to 7 and filled in circle because of the line. And we're going to stay this height until we get to 8. 5, 6, 7, and at 8, open circle. Done. And the next step is a height of 4. And that's going to happen from 8 to 12. Here we go. Height of 4. Everything is filled in. All right. Now, you do have one of these on your homework, and I don't want to have kids being wimpy or doing too much work, to tell you the truth. So I'm going to show you what I would do if I had to do this without a piece of graph paper. Okay, all you need to do is draw your XY axis. Just do your very best. You don't have to be perfect. Make your little tick marks and lines. You do not have to draw every single grid mark. That's ridiculous. So if you have to graph, this is all you need, kids. All right. Now, number 6, you can see I kind of got set up for us. All right, so they ask us the graph, and we don't have our graphing calculators. Well, some of you may, but most of us don't. We could still do this. So they say, graph this. This is the absolute value function. Remember, absolute value just means distance away from 0 on a number line, so the absolute value of 5 is 5. The absolute value of -5 is +5. So it says plug in x values to get the y values, and then we graph them. Okay, so I'm plugging -4 in for x. So let me just do at least one calculation out in front of you so you can see it. So if -4 was placed there, it would say -4 plus 2 with the absolute value symbol on it. And once you calculate that, add 1 to it. Well, -4 added to 2 is -2. -2. Well, the absolute value of -2 just turns into +2. And +2 added to this 1 is 3. So we put a 3 here. So you have to do that for all of these. Just simply do it in your head or write it out. Put -3 in for x. -3 added to 2 is -1. Absolute value of -1 is +1. 1 plus 1 is 2. All right, I'm going to speed things up a little bit. For -1, we get 2 out. For 0, we get 3 out. For 1, we get 4. 2, you'll get 5. 3, you'll get 6. and 4, you will get 7. And same thing, if you're graphing without graph paper, just go ahead and make tick marks on XY axis. -4, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's our first dot. -3, 2, second dot. -2, 1. -1, we turn around, go head back up to 2. 0, we're at 3. 1, we're at 4. 2, we're at 5. 3, we're at 6. And 4, we're at 7. So it's a weird part of the absolute. Oh, don't hit the camera. I hit the camera. My bad. All right, hopefully that steadies out soon. Okay. So it's a weird part of the absolute value v because they kind of cut it from -4 to 4. It kind of looks like a check mark. All right, now state the range of this thing is part B. Range is the lowest y value to the highest y value. So the lowest y value looks like 1, and the highest y value looks like it up to, 7? So you got this option. You can say from 1 to 7, including both, or some kids like to put the y in the middle, from 1 to 7. So these are both the same thing. You got to know them both. All right, let's finish with our last one, which is graphing an inequality. Okay, so to graph an inequality, what you need to do is make sure you solve it for y, or else you're wasting your time. Here's the variable y. You need to move some things around, like subtract that 2x to the other side. So that's still -4y less than or equal to, and I'm going to put the -2x first, plus 12. Then I'm going to get that y by reversing the multiplication and divide by -4. So now y is by itself. Y is less than or equal to, now negative by negative is positive 1/2 x. Positive divided by negative, -3. So this is ready to graph, except I make one small mistake. I hope my students caught it. I divided by a negative. If you divide by a negative, something special is supposed to happen with this symbol. Do you remember? It has to switch its direction. So, if you want to get this right, make sure you don't fall for that. Okay, so let's change that to greater than or equal to. Okay, so now this is ready to graph. The y-intercept is -3, -1, 2, 3. And the slope is in front of the x, rise 1 box, run 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. If you run out of room, you can reverse your process. Just make sure it's still a line. Okay, now if you look at, it's got the equal line. That means when you draw this line, it should be solid. And greater than is shading above. So this is all shaded above. All right, and I'll label that y greater than or equal to 1/2 x minus 3. What is the slope of the boundary line? Well, the boundary line is the line that we just drew there. So the slope of that is 1/2. What is the y-intercept? Well, the y-intercept is -3. It's the y-axis right there. Is the boundary line solid or dashed? Well, I think we already answered that it is solid. And that's all there is to that, guys. I wanted to make sure that you guys aren't being wimpy just because you have to do graphs without graphing paper. So again, this is what your work would look like if you didn't have graph paper. You still graph it and just do your very best. All right, guys. I'll see you guys next time.